Hey everybody, good afternoon and welcome to the Mark Arnstein Show. This is our latest and most brightest guest, Mr. Mark Youngman of Youngman Law, right here in Midtown, North Toronto, at Yonge and Eglinton, on Eglinton Avenue East, actually, just east of Yonge Street. And give Mark a quick little bit of background information about who he is and what he does. He was called to the bar in 1993, went to the University of New Brunswick for his law degree, did his undergrad at Western. He does both civil litigation with emphasis on debitor, creditor, and bankruptcy and insolvency litigation. Obviously, the most important thing, what we're talking about today, which Mark also does, is help buyers and sellers on their real estate transactions with closings, and also does wills and estates. Did I miss anything?
I think that's pretty much it. Thank you, Mark.
My pleasure.
It's a good summary.
Okay, perfect. So thank you for coming on today. I really appreciate it.
Pleasure to be here.
Thank you. So just for those who are listening and watching this on YouTube or on podcasts, so Mark and I actually have known each other for quite a long time. Our kids used to go to school together now, and they used to start off together in elementary school and primary school. And we've met each other through a mutual friend, actually, the Cammy, who built my house and who's done a lot of work with you in the past. Yep. And we just kind of clicked and kind of hit it off. And I don't know, 12 years later, we're kind of here?
Probably about that. I guess whenever you moved into your house, that would have been shortly thereafter, I think, when I met you.
Yeah.
Because you came and showed me your fireplace.
Yeah. Oh my God, that seems like forever ago.
Yeah.
So crazy. Okay, so let's dive into this and kind of get things rolling, because I know you have a meeting you have to run off to, and life is busy in this crazy market. So tell me a little bit what it's like now on the buy side over the last couple of years with COVID, and how that's come into effect for people who are buying real estate from a legal standpoint.
Well, I guess, from a perspective of what I do, a lot of things are different. And I think it was a lead up to COVID too, but certainly since COVID, the market in Toronto, as you know, has been crazy, and it changes kind of things that we do that we would normally do, or the process that we would take. So just as an example, condos, as an example. So if you buy a condo in the kind of pre-COVID days, it was pretty typical that you'd buy a condo, you'd make an offer, you'd buy the condo, and then the lawyer would review what's called the status certificate. So, and you'd get a period of time and you review it, and then, the person would go ahead with the deal, or if there was a problem, they wouldn't, perhaps. So today, and since COVID, it's been certainly more predominant, is that we would get the status certificate ahead of any offer. I actually had a couple yesterday where clients called me and said, listen, we're putting an offer in tonight. You've got 2 hours. Can you review this status certificate? And I had two different deals that happened to yesterday to me. So you're scrambling, you want to look after your clients. So you're scrambling, you want to review this. And so that's a good example of how things have changed, like, at least on the condo side.
Right. And then what about from the actual documentation side, from closing? Because now I know people aren't necessarily coming into the office like the old days anymore to sign their documents. Things are being done, like we can still do. Obviously, we do it through DocuSign to do the actual offers. But on closing, they don't need to come into the office anymore to sign up their docs, do they?
So no, that was, I'd say, one of the great things that came out of COVID, probably the only great thing that came out of COVID. And I think it's going to remain, once COVID is hopefully gone in the near future, I think it's going to remain in some form. But that's right. So people do not have to come into our office. I actually work in my office pretty much every day, so they are welcome to come in and we can sign documents here. But otherwise, we can sign all documents through a video platform, Zoom or Teams or one of those, even FaceTime if need be. And we send all the documents to them electronically, again, kind of through a DocuSign type program. But the difference is we wouldn't just send it to them and ask them to sign it and send it back. We send it to them. We then meet with them over video, go through every document with them, and then have them sign it kind of in front of us. And then we witness certain documents that have to be witnessed, or we commission certain documents that have to be sworn. and then
Right.
they click the button, we get the documents back, and that's kind of how the signing takes place.
Right. Now, do you find that to actually be more efficient as far as the process goes? To have the clients coming into the office, or is it make things a little bit more slower?
No, I would say it makes it much more efficient.
Oh,
So
okay.
we love it. Certainly it's great for the client. They don't have to come into our office. They don't have to park, or drive here into Midtown. And of course, we know Eglinton Avenue isn't in the best of condition these days under
No.
construction. So, it just makes it easier. People can do it from their home or their office and wherever they are. And we set up the Zoom call, we send them the link, and they click, and away we go. So it certainly saves everyone a lot of time.
Okay, cool, awesome. So with that being said, and I'm assuming the same thing is going to be whether you're on the buy side or on the sell side. There's probably not much of a difference in the process as far as meeting going forward, or is there?
So generally not. There are certain documents. So as an example, on the buy side, if you're getting a mortgage, which most people of course do, certain banks require documents to be signed in an original format. So they don't want the DocuSign type signature. So sometimes that can complicate things a little, but generally, we can get around that and deal with that as need be. But certainly on the sales side, it's pretty simple. I mean, we can, use the DocuSign documents and whatnot. And then also one of the other things that that you're obviously familiar with too, that came out of COVID, is that in pre-COVID days, it was generally the accepted practice is that the clients would come and bring the keys to the lawyer's office. And then we would courier the keys to the other lawyer's office, to the buyer's lawyer. So we, as a seller's lawyer, would get the keys, send it to the buyer's lawyer.
Right.
Then we close. Then the client's got to go to back to the buyer's lawyer's office and get the keys, and then they can go to the house. So it was kind of cumbersome. So the one thing that kind of came out of this was an efficiency where the agents, you would leave a lockbox at the property after closing, and then the keys would be left there. We would get the lockbox code, give it to the buyer's lawyer. So that was certainly an efficiency, and I think that will certainly remain as well.
It's funny you bring that one up, because when I moved here from Vancouver almost 18 years ago, so when closings came, we as the agents, we were always left to hand off the keys between agent to agent, or to pick up the keys and then go meet the client, and off you go. So when I moved here, and I was like, the keys go to the lawyers, and the lawyers have to get, that seems so unnecessary.
It certainly wasn't efficient, but I think partly, I think a lot of lawyers liked the fact that they know they've got a key. They can hand it to we don't close until the lawyer, the buyer's lawyer has the key, and they know they've got a key, and they can, when they give it to their client can get in the house, hopefully, unless they're given the wrong key, which has happened before. But, generally we have no control.
Never with you though. No.
Not with me, of course.
No.
But, so if we don't control the keys, then then all of a sudden the client's calling, I never got the keys, what's going on? And you gave them all my money. And so that, I think that's kind of the logic behind that the lawyers would handle the keys. But, I think, that's really isn't that necessary when you look at it now.
No, because again, we didn't hand off the keys until we know we had confirmation of the registration in the process anyways, right? So it wasn't it's today, January 27th, closings today. I'm gonna go meet the new owners at 10 o'clock in the morning, even though we haven't officially got registration yet. It was not until obviously later on in the day.
Right.
So on that note, then one of the other things obviously that you do is wills and estates, which I think obviously is, especially if people are coming into owning property for the first time, or as their lives have changed, and they've either gone from being single to getting married, and going from married to having children. That becomes a very important step in the process. So why don't we talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so certainly, whether you own a house or you own a condo or don't own a house or a condo, it's certainly a good idea for everyone to have a will, powers of attorney as well. So, but especially if you do own property, you do want to have a will, you do want to have powers of attorney, because this way you control, by preparing a will, signing a will, you control who's going to look after your estate when the time comes. You're going to control who gets what from your estate. So if you don't do that, then there's certain laws that prescribe who gets your assets. And maybe you don't want to have that person get your assets. You want to have it go to a certain person. So it's all about, it's certainly about who you want, to have what you have. And then, but I think even more importantly, it has to do with, once you're gone, it's not going to affect you ultimately. It's going to affect the people you leave behind. So you don't want those people fighting because there's uncertainty as to who gets what. So that's really, you're doing it for them, right? You're doing it so that there aren't fights later on, hopefully. I mean, there can still be, but you're going to hopefully minimize them by setting out what your wishes are.
Yeah. And I think, for a lot of people also, it becomes like, what do you mean I'm going to die one day and I'm going to have to do this? And, I think that's why people tend to put it off. And, like I'm guilty of it. We did it. We held off on doing it for a long, just because we were like,
Nobody wants to think about that.
Yeah,
Nobody
exactly.
wants to think about their mortality. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Even I have clients that say, oh, I want to get the process going. And so I send them, I have a will questionnaire that I send them, ask for all their, kind of information and assets and who they want to give it to and who they want to look after their estate. And I send them the questionnaire. I still may not get it back for 6 months or a year. So it's people don't, it is something that people like to put off, but ultimately when you start amassing some assets, it's a really good time to kind of put your pen to paper there and prepare a will.
Right. Okay. And again, like I said, like that's all stuff that you guys do in-house that you can handle for everybody. So that
absolutely. That's part of our practice. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Cool. Excellent. Where do you see anything really evolving or changing in the way closings transactions are done going forward into the future, as far as or is it going to be relatively like kind of like status quo, like just pretty straightforward? We can do things electronically. Nothing's really going to change all that much.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest change right now. I mean, things may change down the road again. I mean, there are certain transactions that, like if you're refinancing within the same bank, you can do that without the need of a lawyer. So that's one example of, how things have changed a little bit. But I'd say really it's the ability now to be able to sign documents without coming into a lawyer's office. I think that's the biggest thing. Transferring funds as well. I mean, it's pretty common, people don't come in and drop off a bank draft anymore for their down payment. They go to our bank and deposit it at our bank wherever they are, or they wire funds to us, so just things like that. Efficiencies are certainly a little better. And I think, moving forward, that may continue.
Okay, cool. And just for people who are watching and want to get more information about you guys, I mean, you guys have got a really nice looking website. I looked at it before we got onto the call. It's funny because like I actually haven't looked at it because I never had a need to look at it, because I know who you are. We've been dealing with each other for so long. It was never a thought to go there and look. And I went, oh, wow, they actually did a really nice job on that. I was like,
nice, thank you. Yes. Kudos to my sister who helped design it. So
there you go. There you go. Okay, and you have like a relatively large group there, right? Like you have there's about 6 or 7 in-house lawyers.
Yeah, there's 6 lawyers, 7 lawyers, I guess, and actually now, and we have about staff of about 14, 15. So we're over 20 people now.
Nice.
So it's we're a busy office for Midtown Toronto. We're happy to be here.
Right.
And no, it's great. Things have been great.
And
notwithstanding the crazy pandemic.
So, and what's the website where people can go and get more information?
Youngmanlaw.com is our website.
Okay, and then the office number in case anyone wants to reach out.
Call 416-363-3351.
Perfect.
General number. If you want to speak with me, my extension 228.
And of course, always happy to chat about golf and hockey, right?
100%. 100%. Did you see the Leafs game last night? Come on. Overtime or shootout win. There you go.
There you go. There you go. And then we can go play golf in the snow and see if we can find the balls or not.
Yeah, it's a little chilly today for that.
Yeah, for sure. In the spring, summer.
Yes.
We'll get out there for sure. Okay. Listen, Mark, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate you coming on and doing this for us today. And thanks for the awesome information about the services, practices, everything that you guys offer up there. Youngman Law is a fantastic law firm. They do an amazing job. We've been working with them, like I said, for over 10 years. Clients have always been absolutely thrilled. And if you want great, phenomenal legal advice, he is the man to reach out to and talk to you about whether buying, selling, wills, estates, and if you need a little bit of litigation and insolvency, hey, there you go.
We do lots of that too. Absolutely. Thank you for having me on, Mark. Appreciate it. And look forward to helping any of your clients for sure.
Thank you so much. Mark, all the best. Best to you.
You too. Thank you.